Hey, I'm Derek.
And I'm Jay.
Welcome to the bottom of the hill. In this video, we're gonna build a kicker ramp out of hand-milled boards. Kicker ramp is just a takeoff for a tabletop or pretty much anywhere you wanna make a jump, and we haven't made any mountain bike features yet, so that's what we're gonna work on this week, so we have something fun to do around here when we're not working. A brief overview, the reason why I'm doing this, I'm building this access road so eventually we can put mountain bike trails in and features and just enjoy our land a little bit more. This will be the first mountain bike feature that I actually build on our land. We have no trails here right now. The only thing I've been doing is working on redoing this access road to make it easier to get up and down from the top to the bottom so I can access all the land. We got a good start. In the last video of milling these boards, that's where we left off. We have a couple logs that we have to get through here. We're gonna mill them so we have enough wood to build the kicker ramp out of. I'm gonna go ahead and get this knocked out so we can move on to the next part of this build. The chainsaws I'll be using today is a Stihl MS-880 and a Stihl MS-362. I still have a 30-inch bar on the MS-880. I have a full house round ground chain and a full skip round ground chain. We're gonna see if they do any better. The elm that we're milling here is really hard on the saw, or on the chain actually, and it dulls really quick. The wood's really wet. It requires a lot of sharpening to be able to cut through it. I've also gone through and reground these chains to a 10-degree angle on the top of the cutting tooth, which blunts the side cutting edge and should give a better finish on the side of the board. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. As I'm milling this elm right here, if you watch the end of the board, right after I put these wedges in, the wedges start to fall out because the wood itself is under so much stress that it's actually separating as I cut it. This wood is really bound up. The grains of the wood are intertwined, and it's a very tough wood and very wet, and it just keeps spreading there. I got 6 boards out of the first log that I had processed. This is the second log that I'm starting on. I finished the first log and processed 2 more logs on this day. I ended up getting about 19 boards total. I had some that were 1 3/4 and some that were 1 inch. The ones that are 1 3/4 I use for the sides of the kicker, and the ones that were 1 inch I use for the slats on the face of the kicker. In total, it took about 4 hours to process this wood. It's not an easy job, and when you're milling elm, it goes very slowly. I would recommend trying it out though. It was very rewarding to mill my own wood. It's day 2 of the kicker build. We got to get this wood right here loaded into the truck and get down to the bottom. We're gonna have to do a little bit of excavating work before we can get down there, but once we get down there, we'll get set up and start building the kicker. I haven't been using the farm truck very much because it's still really slick down here and I don't really have mud tires on it. So it's dried out for several days here. It's looking pretty good. The first time I tried to take the truck all the way down the bottom and come back, it didn't go so well. We're going to load this wood now. So hopefully I can get all this in one trip. It's quite a bit of wood, and I don't even know if the old truck can handle the weight. And I don't really know if I can handle the weight either. I think we'll just need 2 stacks. Well, not a whole lot that's fun about that. I'm gonna head down to the bottom and get working on this kicker. I'm gonna be using a 12-foot radius for the kicker ramp, and I just have a 12-foot piece of rope here that I'm gonna lay my board out right here and then get my radius on the board with this piece of string, and then I'll cut it out with a little 193T. It's pretty straightforward. So I'm gonna mark up a few of them. We'll cut them and then start attaching them. I'm just using a marker right here to mark the radius on the board. Then I'm gonna grab my little top handle chainsaw and freehand cut it. Well, that's our first cut. Looks pretty good. Here I'm just tracing the outline of the first cut. I cut 2 sticks roughly 3 foot wide, and I'm going to use those to support the frame so I can put the boards on top of it. I didn't use a tape measure for this, I kind of eyeballed everything, and it's the first time I've built a kicker, so we'll see if it works. So here I start putting the slats on. This is the 1-inch milled lumber. The side rails are made out of 1 3/4, and this is all elm wood. The wood that I milled earlier in the video. The elm did have some cracks in it, and we're split down the middle. That's why some of the boards aren't as wide as the other boards. I grabbed the saw here to start trimming up the frame. I didn't use a tape measure, I was just freehanding these boards. So there's overhang on both sides. I'm putting all these screws in the heartwood, not the sapwood of these boards. I'm trying to minimize how much the wood splits over time. I lucked out here. I had the perfect amount of boards to make the radius. The width of the boards were all pretty good. I didn't have to rip any of them. So I'm turning it over here. I want to reinforce the back of it. So I'm going to take the cutouts that I cut out when I did the radius, and I'm going to put them on the back side of it, and then use a couple of the 1-inch boards to secure the back of it. This is probably overbuilt a little bit, but I don't want to die. And here I'm just going to finish trimming up and evening out the underneath side of the ramp and the ends. Put the angles in right there for when I set it on the ground. This thing is ridiculously heavy, and as you can see, I was struggling right here just trying to get it propped up, but I wanted to do a better job showing you guys what it looked like when I was done. I didn't do a very good job of that when I built the desk. This is day 3 of the kicker build, tabletop build. The first day I milled a bunch of wood. The second day I built the kicker ramp. I cleared the road out to get down to the bottom, so I have the excavator down here, I have the kicker ramp sitting right there, and I have a hill right here. We're going to use the excavator to build a run-in trail for the kicker ramp, build the tabletop, and then place the kicker on the tabletop, and then go get a mountain bike and ride it. That's the plan for today. Beautiful day. It's November 7th today, and I think we're going to have a high of almost 70. So I'll be shedding this flannel shirt here in a little bit, and enjoying the good weather. Pretty excited about today. This is a first for the channel, but let's get the trail building. So right here, I'm gonna start digging up the hill to build the lead in. We need to make sure that we get enough speed to be able to hit the tabletop. I have about 100 yards of lead-in trail, and here I start building the tabletop. Moving quite a bit of dirt. This whole segment here is pretty consolidated. It took about 6 hours to move the dirt this day. Kicker's super heavy. Nothing else to say about that. Just trying to compact the dirt here. And here I start shaping the top of the tabletop. It needs to be much wider than what it is currently. So I'm taking the extra dirt from the bottom and moving it back up on top and trying to square that off. This is the beginning of day 4. The lip is a bit steep here, so we decided to pull it down. Here, I'm gonna dig out the base of it to make that easier. Jay was kind enough to come help me out today as well. Oh, I just lifted it up and pulled it down. How's that look? Maybe a little bit more. Yeah. Well, that was an easy fix. And I should have plenty of dirt now. Here we're starting to shape the tabletop. I take the excavator up on top of the tabletop. It was pretty sketchy getting it up there. This is the first time I've ever done that. Though, once I got it up there, it did a great job compacting and leveling up the top. Here we're just working on the lead in to the ramp. The excavator does an excellent job of compacting soil. And the razor does an excellent job of getting the bigger clumps flattened out that the excavator leaves. We start the finishing touches to the rock drop right here. Have to add a little bit of soil, use the excavator to compact it. And then I'm redigging the lead in. We didn't have enough elevation on the first one that I dug out, so this has given us just a little bit more speed to be able to hit the features correctly. Jay just comes in behind me here with the razor to help smooth out the berm and the lead into the rock drop. And here we're gonna add dirt to the exit of the rock drop to make it rollable. After this, we're ready to ride it. We're gonna run up to the top and grab the bikes and come down and try out the new features. All right, so I have Jay with me here. We've been working on the ramp, and we're gonna ride the bikes down from the top of the property down to the bottom and then session the jump. Been a long time coming. I'm gonna follow Jay down the hill. So I'm sitting at the top of the tabletop for the kicker, the rock drop, and the table that I've been working on. This is my first attempt in, and you can just, that's the lead in, the rock drop's right there, and the table's right down there. This is gonna be a blind run. Pretty excited. Actually, I'm super excited. This is exactly why I've been doing what I've been doing. So let's hit it. Cinder. such a rewarding project. I can't thank Jay enough for coming out and helping. I just had an absolute blast doing this. Please make sure you like and subscribe the video and share it with your friends if you find the content enjoyable. And I'll see you next time on the Hill.